Welcome, motorsport enjoyers, to the Tokyo Expressway Manufacturers Cup. I'm racing in the Porsche 911 for the Manufacturers Cup this season, and this turned out to be a surprisingly amazing race, considering I just hopped on like 3 minutes before the race started, and I'm like, oh, what? There's a manufacturer's race today. There you can see I'm in P8. Qualified P8, and yeah, I also want to take a look at Teo Dante in 14th place. He's another guy to keep track of on the timing pages there. Throw it into traction control 1 because it is a wet race, as you can see. If I can remember correctly, the starting track dampness was 59%, something like that. Right now, as we're in the tunnel, there's no rain. But, yeah, as I was saying, this turned out to be a surprisingly interesting race. Quite a lot of fun despite the low practice, and you'll definitely see the effects of not having enough practice on this race. A few times going to the wall. But still, a really fun race. Probably the most important is keeping it clean at the start of the race when it's mostly wet. There's no dry line quite yet. So we're starting in 8th, getting the run on the Ferrari up here with the slipstream. He doesn't seem to be using the slipstream, so I go along the outside, brake pretty early because I just want to keep it clean.
Squeeze past, they're going wheel to wheel towards Vale now. Who's going to be last on the brakes? Leclerc has that inside line. Perez goes off the track, cuts the chicane. Off goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff coming out of the final corner. Perez and Leclerc going for it. Hamilton says thank you very much. Another thing opens up for him.
Alright, thank you for that little sound bite there. Yeah, keeping it clean through that first corner, and we're able to go through the pack from 8th into 5th, just in that one section of corners by keeping it clean. And yeah, into 5th place behind this Lexus right here. And for keeping it clean during the first bit of the lap, and just a little under driving the car. I don't want to find the limits right away because of the minimal practice. I don't really know where that limit is during this race. So, and the nice thing, and this track turned out to be such an amazing road track. The big long straight with the slipstream just was a ton of fun. We're slipping up the inside on the big hairpin at the bottom there, going side by side. The Lexus gets the better run, so we're able to tuck into the slipstream. But since this straight is so long, we just use the bump draft. P6 right now is 1.3 seconds behind, and you can see, it's hard to see up ahead, but 3rd place is quite a ways up there. But with the bump drafting, by the end of the mega straight, we are like 2 seconds ahead of 6th place, so we gained like almost a full second, and now you can see the podium positions are right there. Oh, a little bit outbraked ourselves, caused some damage, and a little bit of bowling. So not a very clean maneuver right there, but it got us into 3rd place, which is pretty good news. And the stewards seemed to think that was a acceptable move because there's no penalties. I have a feeling this race was quite lenient on penalties because of the wet track and bumping into the walls and things like that. But still, really fun race. So lap 2, we're in 3rd place from 8th to 3rd by lap 2. Very good start to the race. Kept it clean mostly. Clean, slightly mean. That's what I'm going to be saying throughout the race. And yeah, the wet track really threw in a nice level of skill and Yeah, just another factor to keep track of. And you can see here, second place has a penalty, only a 0.5 second penalty, and we're closing up on him in the hairpin. Braked a little too hard, just still trying to figure out this track because did not get a lot of practice. Only had, I think I just went in for qualifying. I don't even think I got a pre-practice lap in. Anyway, second place gets the penalty, and we were just carrying too much momentum to bump draft, so we just pull ahead. But that also means third place now is in our slipstream, as you can see in the little radar at the bottom there, and he gives us a little bit of a bump coming up. Boom, right there, you can see the revs jumped up, and yeah, now that means the two of us can work to catch back up to first place. Hilarious name, first place. Two from Poo. Genuine genius right
It's
there.
broken!
Yeah, got a bit of damage there. It's broken. And yeah, that's just with the damp track. Trying to find the limits, and we went a little bit over the limits there. That's all right. Second place, pulled ahead. So now we're gonna try to fight back for our spot. Sweeping in through the city sweepers, the long corners, very fun. Lots of higher speeds, but with the rain, you're using a lot of the brakes. Just trying to get the car rotated and not slide off the racing line. Lap 3 here, you can see there's a bit of a dry line forming, and that's gonna be crucial coming up into the pit stop phase of the race. Not quite yet, we still got a few laps before we pit, so just to get to the more interesting parts of the race, we'll speed the video up a bit. Still a little wet, so we're sliding around on the hairpin there and flying down the main straight. I'm out of slipstream range of second place, and fourth place is out of slipstream range for me. So not a lot of changes during the main straight. Very crucial to get slipstream on this main straight. Once again, finding a better braking zone for the first corner there. And you can see the dry line is forming quite well. The rain or the wetness radar at the bottom, you can see is just hovering around the first line there. So it's plausible to go onto hard tire was the other option. But still, track is quite wet, and yeah, it's a little too wet for me because I just go off the dry line and smash into the railing there, into the wall. So just trying to really stay on the dry line. And you see this Aston Martin makes the better of the situation of me hitting the wall, gets past me in the hairpin, and now this actually is good news for me. That mistake, I'm able to utilize the slipstream of this Aston Martin to regain that time that I've lost. So I was following him, and then he darts into the pit. I'm like, what? You're going into the pits already? I'm sliding all over the place back here. So I thought it was a little too early, but then that clued me in to really pay attention to the dry line and to the rain or the wetness meter, whatever that thing is called. And now it's below the first line, so it's looking like the hard tires are an option. Driving a bit onto the wet line to see the wetness meter. Braking, and it was a little early, maybe, but the track is still kind of wet. Too wet for my inexperienced myself. I need a bit more of a dry track to fully utilize my racing skills. But we're still sitting in 3rd place, which is a great return from 8th, starting 8th with minimal practice as well. And so just paying attention to the track evolution, seeing how the track gets better, where the line is, the dry line is, and just trying to really pay attention to these corners. There you can see I drifted a little wide onto the wet line, but still setting purple sectors, which is really good, but also hitting the wall.
It's broken!
Yep, some damage there. Thanks a lot, Team Radio. So yeah, still need to have some more practice on this wet track, but we'll see what we can do this next lap. The dry line is appearing quite substantially, so paying attention to all the components of the race. And up ahead here, we can see 2nd place, right a ways ahead. He goes into the pits, so we get called into the pits as well. Change over to the hards for the 2nd half of the race. And yep, Porsche pit crew doing an amazing job. We're out in 6th position, so didn't drop too far down from position-wise for that pit stop. But now, and there goes the Aston Martin again. So the undercut strategy for the Aston Martin didn't work perfectly for him. And it wouldn't have worked for me either because I just make too many mistakes. As we can see here, just hitting the wet line and drifting into the corner, into the wall, causing damage. And so now we got some positions to make up. But the dry line is there enough that we can be going quite fast through these corners in the city. And yeah, just making up time, paying a lot of attention to stay on the dry line for these first couple of laps, while as you can see, hitting the wall again. And unfortunately for me, this time I get a half-second penalty for all those times I hit the wall. And that is going to cost me a bit. As we can see, 8th place is less than a second behind. And once again, hitting the wall.
Problemi! 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 Problemi!
That's right, Team Radio. Big problem. We're back into 8th, where we started the race, with a half-second penalty, and then just got overtaken by this other 911, which I think he'll be coming back in the race. We'll see him again. First and second go into the pits as we're just serving our penalty. In the pit lane, it definitely does not take a lot of time to go through the pits. So unfortunately for us, we did not gain too many positions, or didn't gain any positions at all in the pit, unfortunately. All thanks to those mistakes from the inexperience of driving on the wet track instead of the dry track. Just drive on the dry line. It's as easy as that. But as we can see here, setting purple sectors, the track is getting stronger. But as for me, I'm not getting stronger as I drive into the wall once again. Not the optimal racing line. Wall riding is not a great idea around here. Have not tried it yet, but I assume you'll be getting a penalty, maybe only a half-second penalty. But as we can see here, 9th place is right on our tail. So we got to keep it clean. Don't want to lose too many more positions and have to fight them back, because it's only a one-stop race with the hard tires. There's these tires will last all the way till the end. Looks like 9th place has drifted back now. And, oh, big problem, yellow flag. Man in the wall, the Porsche 911 in the wall. And as we can see here, another person in the wall, facing the wrong way, sideways on the racing track. Definitely not the direction you should be facing. And that leaves us into the hairpin, just up with these cars, a group of 3, and let's hear from team radio.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer racing driver.
That's right. Those wise words as we snake right through the middle, right through the open gap. We had to kind of muster the gap ourselves, bumping a little bit through. But now we're into 4th place thanks to that mistake from those other cars parking perpendicular to the racing line. Not a great place to park, especially when you're supposed to be racing. But anyway, we're in the slipstream of 3rd. 5th behind us tried to pass us, but the slipstream from up ahead gave us a little bit more momentum so that we could stay ahead. And now we're in a 3-way battle for 3rd place. And as you can see on the timing charts, Teo Danti from 14th place did not qualify, started from the back. It has just moved up into 6th position. So I did not realize that at the time. I was unaware. But it's a good thing to keep track of, as he is making his way through the pack very efficiently. The 3-way battle for 3rd is getting a little bit more spread out. 5th place is, what is that? Is that 5/10 behind me? And we're a 2nd away from 3rd. So as long as we get the slipstream within slipstream range on the main straight, which may not happen now that we got the run into the wall for another time. There the Porsche goes through once again and into the hairpin, braking later on these hard tires just to catch up with them, because it's important to be in the slipstream on this main straight. We're around the outside of that Porsche once again, kind of banging doors just a bit, and crucially just on the tickles, the fringes of slipstream of 3rd place, starting lap 9. So we're crawling forward, and thanks to that penalty, Teo Danti is 1 place behind us, directly behind us, still a few seconds, or just a couple of tenths behind. So now the 3-way battle now involves Teo Danti. So give 3rd place Lexus a bump down the main straight, seeing if we can catch 2nd. They are quite a ways ahead for these last couple of laps, but if we keep it clean and work together, we can maybe catch them. But as you can see, the Lexus running into the wall might be a tall order for the couple of us to keep the race clean and catch up to 1st and 2nd. So we're fighting the Lexus. I decided to give him the bump during the infield section here, or the city section, but it just caused me to go off the racing line and lose a lot of time. So now I was deciding, instead of helping, being the nice Canadian and helping my fellow racers to an overall better victory, I decide this is gonna have to be a selfish maneuver. So we're catching up to 3rd place, but once again, but never mind. We're going into the hairpin once again, on the fringes of the slipstream. Break into the hairpin, braking a little early, I think, but we're on the back of the Lexus. Use the traction on the 911 to once again be just on the fringes of slipstream, 7/10. Let's see if we can move up a little closer, switch off the traction control now that the dry line is firmly in place. You see Teo Danti right behind us on the radar. Doesn't look like he might have given us the bump just enough to get within slipstream of the third place Lexus, and because it was a little too risky following the Lexus, we pass around the outside, brake a little early into the hairpin on the inside, cover off the move, and now we are in the lead of this three-way battle with some fresh air ahead to try and keep it much more clean and pull away from these two people behind me. I'm hoping that they can start fighting amongst themselves and I'll be able to pull away and have a nice, secure third place. And so far, it's working out for me. And the dry line has gotten a bit wider, so we can use a bit more of the racetrack. And there we see Teo Danti has overtaken the Lexus and is right behind me on the radar. So this is going to be a close one. Take that corner a little better than him, but we still have the hairpin and most importantly the mega straight. So hopefully we'll be able to keep this third place away from Teo Danti, who fought his way all the way from last place, 14th on the grid, now up to 4th. 10 places gained by him. Congratulations, very good race. And now we're starting the penultimate lap. I look behind, and there is Teo Danti in the slipstream. And at this moment, I was like, oh my, indeed. The person who started 14th on the grid has caught up to me and is firmly in the slipstream. So I look to cover off the inside because I know this guy is going to be a very strong racer. So I half cover the inside to still stay on the dry line, and we stay ahead of Teo Danti for the moment. And yeah, look behind once again just to make sure that everything's all right. And as Teo Danti follows me through the inner city where the walls are close, lots of mistakes are likely, could happen, but the dry line is basically the whole racing line now. You don't have to worry about it too much, and so these hard tires are fired up and ready to race a little harder. And coming up to the hairpin, this little straight before the hairpin, Teo Danti in 4th place is firmly in the slipstream and is going to, looks like he's taking a look up the inside, ducks back in, looks around the outside, but I can slow around the hairpin and he hits my rear and spins me out just a bit. So now we're behind Teo Danti in the AMG Mercedes. But luckily for us, this slipstream along the mega back straight is super powerful. So we gained the momentum. We're only halfway down the straight, and I decide to overtake because it is the final lap, and if I bumped him along, I may not make the overtake at the end of the straight, and then it would be quite easy for him to stay ahead through the city section of the racetrack. So we passed, cover off the inside once again, and now we're in the city part. But unfortunately for me, I hit the wall. That allows Teo Danti to fling up my inside, and the Lexus is once again in contention for the three-way battle for third. And the slipstream, once again, lots of slipstream in this video. We're looking around the outside of Teo Danti, side by side into the braking zone, and boom, he hits.
You have to leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space.
Yep, you have to leave a space. Not a lot of space afforded there.
It's rewind time.
Alright, let's take a replay of this moment. Hit the wall, that's where we lose our momentum. Teo Danti goes up the inside. We gather a little bit of slipstream from him for the beginning part of this city section of the racetrack. We got some good momentum, slow it down a bit. We're going side by side. He covers the inside of this corner, but that leaves me on the inside of this braking zone. He cuts across. I hit the wall. That forces me to bump him into the wall. Big three-way crash. And surprisingly for me, I came out on top of that in third place. But with fighting with, I believe this is the red Porsche, as we just saw it back there. Got the inside, so now we're ahead. I just got to keep this clean up to the hairpin, full power, and a little straight before the slipstream, or a little straight before the hairpin gives the Porsche driver some slipstream. So I decided to brake quite a bit later, and you can see on the radar, 4 cars in the mix for third place. We get on the power, and the 4th place Porsche is right in our slipstream. So I'm weaving back and forth, trying to block off or get rid of the slipstream. Go to the outside, now to the inside, up to the corner, to the finish line, and boom, finish. As we can see, third place, only less, what is that? 1/100th of a second away from 4th place. An amazing race, up 5 positions. Just start saying congratulations, good race to all these guys, and also to Teo Danti. Sorry for absolutely slamming him in the wall. But overall, an amazing race. I was quite pleased with the performance and just the quality of the event, the drying track and the quality of the lobby. Well, the quality, me being running into the walls all the time. But yeah, very excited for the next manufacturer's race, and hope you enjoyed this race. See you next time.